Hi guys. So today I'm deviating away from our normal mysteries, murders, scandals, scams, scenarios, and I guess you could call this a scandal. I don't think I cannot address what took place yesterday in Washington D.C. With the different rallies and stuff going on. Now I've been watching rallies and protests all year long since they've been going on, even before then, with all the different shootings and stuff. And I bet you think that because I am black, I am going to start talking about injustices between the police officers and how they're doing the Trump supporters versus how they're doing people of color when we have protests. Nope, not doing that, not worried about that. That's not the issue at hand. The issue at hand for me today is what is going on in our country in regards of history. Now, I get it. Our government sucks. And I'm trying not to keep things very unpolitical on my channel because that's not, I probably should start another channel for that, but I am going to address this. But our government sucks. I get it. It's always sucked. The concept of America is experimental. There has never been another country in the world who has tried to do what we have done, which is to have a true democracy where the people, and I'm not talking about a select few people, but the actual people of the country are in charge of the government. Now, we use our elected representatives they're supposed to represent us. They're supposedly there to represent us. But I also know that people are human, and our representatives love having the power that they have. And that goes all the way from the president of the United States all the way down to your local county or city commissioner or city councilman. That's just the way they are. Power is something that's very addictive. Otherwise, we wouldn't have people sitting in Congress that are older that have been there longer than I have been alive. I think the longest running senator, maybe congressman, I'm not 100% sure, but they were elected in 1981 and they started in January of 1981. I wasn't born until May of 1981. So he's been serving in Congress longer than I've been alive. So we do need to have some kind of change when it comes down to our government. The Constitution had its purpose for back in the day. Now, I will 100% uphold the Constitution. However, I'm not opposed to adding on more amendments as time progresses, like getting rid of the Electoral College and just strictly having the popular vote. I mean, makes sense. It's not like it was back then when we had the Electoral College vote. But this idea that America was founded by these patriots who had no help from no one, who were doing these amazing things, and I'm not trying to take away from any of our founding fathers by any means, but to say they had no help and they did this on their own and they were just average citizens is a no-show. George Washington, very rich plantation owner. Thomas Jefferson, very rich plantation owner. Alexander Hamilton had a little bit of bread, not a lot, but a little bit. Ben Franklin had a little bit of bread. They were prestigious men. These were not your backdoor farmers. These were not the average American citizens or colonists at that time. These were people who had a little money, had a lot of education, and were able to come up with this system. This was not someone who would be working at Walmart coming into the Capitol trying to run some stuff or trying to go up against the British. That's not what happened. And we also cannot forget that had it not been for a certain country, we would not have our freedom like we have it today. If it wasn't for the French, we can sit here and make all kinds of jokes about French people. But if it wasn't for the French, we would not have ever gotten away from Great Britain. France financed us and financed us so much that they bankrupted their country. They were already on thin ice because of the things that Louis XIV and Louis XV had put into place. But when Louis XVI came in and had his government loan the United States money that we did not pay back Look at the United States over there looking bougie and ghetto, not paying the French back. Because he had spent this money, his country was suffering. And so I kind of compare what's going on in America right now to the French Revolution, especially yesterday. Yesterday reminded me of when in, let me get the year right, October the 5th, 1789, if I'm not mistaken. They stormed, some men and women, they stormed the Palace of Versailles. And they came in a hair of getting Marie Antoinette. And if they had gotten her, they would have killed her and anyone around her who was up to that lifestyle. Now, who was our modern day Marie Antoinette? Well, you could say Nancy Pelosi. She's sitting up there. She is the Speaker of the House. She's the third in charge of our nation. And a lot of people hate her. I think it was over the summertime. She had gotten her hair done and during the height of COVID, and that was a big mess. She's not a likable woman. And then you also have Louis XVI, who was home in Versailles at the time, and he could be a lot of people. He could have been Chuck Schumer. He could have been Mitch McConnell. He could have represented Mike Pence. We had all of our leaders in the Capitol looking like Marie Antoinette and King Henry XVI stuck. And there was even a makeshift guillotine on Capitol Hill that day in the protest crowd. It looked like a guillotine. It had a noose to it. But if I could find the picture, I'll try to throw it up. I don't know if I'm doing a whole lot of editing to this video. I doubt it. But these people wanted blood. And I get it. A lot of people are comparing these two riots, this riot to the riots for George Floyd in Minneapolis, the riots in Baltimore and in Ferguson. But there's a difference. And the big difference is, they tore down a Walgreens, they tore up a Target, and some other different companies that have insurance. But you're talking about tearing down the American government. That's different. Our leaders were in there. Heaven forbid, Trump had croaked yesterday and the rioters had gotten to the Speaker of the House and the Vice President. What would have happened? Or let's say they had gotten everybody in the Capitol. What would have happened? How would our country have functioned? There's no way. And what usually happens in situations like this is we end up turning against each other. And just like the French would eventually have happen, we go into a civil war. And you got some people, especially on that Parler website, it's not as anonymous as you think, because I have a Parler page, and no, I'm not giving it to anybody, but we up there. We're seeing what you're doing. And let me go ahead and throw out here my political views. I hate the Democrats. I hate the Republicans. I ain't studying none of y'all. I don't like Donald Trump. I don't like Joe Biden. Mike Pence's baby daddy, though. So, I mean, I could care less about what political party you belong to. It's about the person that you are. Point blank and period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's all about who you are, how you're representing our country, and are you representing what the people want you to do. Now, I wish we had a perfect government. I really do. And I wish there was some type of solution that we can have. And it's very hard when you have leaders who do not understand what you're going through. And I don't care if you're a Democrat and I don't care if you're Republican. Poverty affects us all. And don't come in my comments talking about socialism and communism, especially if you cannot properly define them. Remember, I am a history teacher and I know what they are. So if you can't properly define them, don't come in my comments with that stuff. Poverty affects us all. And until the people who run our country understand what it's like to have to choose between medicine and feeding your child, because not all of us are single parents. Not all of us are people who get into having a whole bunch of kids or get into drugs and all sorts of things. Life happens to people. Everybody is not going to be middle class or upper middle class. Everybody can't be Elon Musk. But nobody should be sitting up here struggling. And the government should, in some ways, I'm not one for big government, but in some ways, you need to help the people out. And I think that regardless of what you may think of Democrats, the people that came out and voted in Georgia yesterday or day before yesterday, they really showed that it didn't matter. A lot of Republicans didn't turn out because they were pissed because they didn't get that $2,000. And I don't blame them. But the bottom line is that we cannot continue on the trajectory that we're going on, because if we are, we're going to end up just like the French. And it's going to take time to rebuild our reputation from that. France was at the top of their game, especially when they were under Louis XIV. Top of their game, one of the world leaders. And then slowly but surely, greed, power, corruption came in. And then finally, they ended up with a weak king that made a stupid decision and loaning money to a country that didn't give their money back. And now they ended up with a revolution. And even those people who were claiming to be patriots and were trying to come up with this ideal government ended up folding on themselves. Maximilien Robespierre, he was the most influential of them all. He is credited for their constitution. However, he was power hungry. He wrote arrest warrants and death certificates like it was nothing. He had no regard for human life in his prospects of getting this ideal government. And what happened to him? Power corrupts power. And he ended up having to eat his own words because he ended up being arrested. And unlike Louis XVI, who was, jailed, did kind of try to escape, but then ended up accepting his fate and taking himself onto the guillotine, he decides that he's going to shoot himself in the mouth. Unfortunately for him, he still survived. And he ended up being having his head chopped off. So he wanted to have King Louis XVI's head. He wanted Marie Antoinette's head. And he ended up getting his own head taken off. And that's what happens. People start off with very good intentions. And I have no doubt that people really believe the things that they believe. And that's fine. Whatever you want to believe, whoever you choose to support, that's on you. I have no parts in that. However, we have to keep in mind that we are all in this together, regardless of what side we're on. We're all getting screwed by the exact same people. And they go in these different meetings and they come out shaking hands and patting each other on the back. You see how quickly they turned on Trump? Yeah, because 2022 is election season for a whole lot of senators and representatives. They're not going to chance their careers for Donald Trump. And I don't think we need to chance our country for Donald Trump either. Like I said, you can support him. You can be angry at the fact that he is not the president, but we have already gone through our constitutional progress. If you want to make a change, then you need to run for office. That's how you're going to make a change. Now, if you're going to run for office, remember, there are people like me that are keeping receipts of the things that you say. And if you are promising us stuff and then not delivering on those promises, we're going to call you out. And you may not be in that place or position that you were in. But if you want to make a difference, run for the political seat that you want to. Start locally and build yourself up. Politics is a dirty job, but hey, if you're up for it and you're really there to make a change, then hey, that's only the best thing that we can have. True, honest, working Americans who know what it's like to struggle, who knows what their fellow men are going through. Not these elitists who have never had to work a day of their lives, have never known what it's like not to have mommy and daddy money. And I'm sorry, Donald Trump probably ain't never seen a food stamp before in his life. Don't know what an EBT card looked like. Donald Trump, Nancy Pelosi, I seriously doubt it. I really seriously doubt it. You don't see these people walking in the neighborhoods like mine. You don't see these people going into trailer parks in my county. You don't see these people out where we see regular people. When last time y'all saw a senator or a congressman in Walmart just shopping? Please leave a comment. I'd like to know. They don't represent us. They're part of the 1% that we're always talking about. They're part of it. These people are millionaires while you're sitting up here struggling every single day to make ends meet, paying off high student loan debt for jobs that are barely covering the necessities that you and your family need. And so what I don't want to continue to see is us fighting amongst each other on different things. Yes, we have a lot of differences and we have a lot of things in America that we need to work on. But right now, we need to keep our country running because y'all might not like it. Truth is a light. The whole world is watching. And like I said, what would happen if we did not have our leaders in place? Who's going to run the country? Who will be there to say, okay, China's getting too close to us. Russia is getting too close to us. It's time for us to act. Who's going to be the one to do that? You have to have leaders. You can't have a whole lot of people running around trying to be the boss and no employees. Otherwise, nothing is going to get done. But anyway, that's my thought on the situation, guys. Like I said, it is very, very deep, and I could go really deep. Don't even get me started on the police officers out there, because I'm not even going to talk. Like I said, I'm not going to talk about the racial aspect of it. But I'm going to say this. Some of y'all that were caught out there on videos, and some of y'all caught out there in videos look like me, trying to fight or trying to contain this mob of people with a baton. Honey, if that video was of me, I would be running and hiding somewhere, because that was a doggone shame. Y'all police officers down there, y'all need to get y'all some help. And I understand y'all might not have been ready for it, but I mean, they were talking about it on social media for a long time. So it's not like y'all didn't know they won't come, that they were coming. That should have been taken care of ASAP. And I really hate that people lost their lives for Donald Trump, because call it what it is. They didn't lose their lives for freedom. They didn't lose their lives because of some type of revolutionary act. They lost their lives because they were going to support a man who probably hasn't even reached out to the families of the victims. And if he has, please let me know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't try to be right all the time. I'm human. I make mistakes. But I haven't seen anything in the mainstream or the alternative media that has stated that he has reached out to any of the people who have been killed, including a police officer who has now been pronounced dead no more than a couple of hours before me making this video. So, guys, like I said, if you're in the comments and you have differing opinions, don't argue. It's not worth arguing over, because we are all supposed to be in this together. We're supposed to be the people of the United States. They're supposed to be the ones running the country. But instead, we have these elitists in office that are pretty much on both sides, that are pretty much running the show and telling us what to think and how we should look at things. That's why we are not able to properly think critically. Because if you could see that both sides are full of crap. Don't matter which president you put in office, he's nothing but a model or a person of he's no more better than the Queen of England, in my opinion. And I actually like Queen Elizabeth, but he's no better than her. They're for ceremony and ceremony purposes only. The only difference is he has the nuclear codes and she doesn't. That's it. But you guys are the ones that are supposed to make the difference. But you can't make a difference when you're out here cutting the food. And that goes for whether you're protesting for government reasons, for as far as the government, or whether you're protesting for social justice reasons. Once you start tearing stuff up, your cause is gone. Nobody's going to listen to you because you're making yourself look bad. Plain and simple. And the same thing with that mob that went and got Marie Antoinette and Louis XVI. In the end, because they were so bloodthirsty to kill these two people, they ended up killing and having their neighbors killed, having family members killed. They ended up being the things that they used to call Marie Antoinette and Louis the 16th. So, let's not turn ourselves into monsters trying to fight the monsters. In any event, guys, I will check you later. Hopefully, I'll get back to posting my regular videos on the channel. School has started back, so it's been kind of really busy, and I haven't had a chance to post like I normally do. So, all right, guys, in this video, if you like the video, hit that subscribe button. If you don't, keep on scrolling, and I will see you guys later. Bye.